Fox News alert, 2 police officers have been killed in an explosion in Moscow. Russian officials say the officers saw what they're calling a suspicious individual near a car, and when they went to approach, an explosive device was detonated. A third person believed to be the suspect was also killed. An official from Ukraine's military intelligence tells the Associated Press it was behind the attack. The blast happened near where a senior Russian general was killed in a car bombing on Monday.
Meanwhile, peace talks continued over the weekend between the U.S., Russia, and Ukraine. And while no deal has been reached, Ukraine says they've actually won some concessions in a U.S.-led draft plan. I want to bring in the U.S. ambassador to NATO, the great Matt Whitaker. Good to see you, Hawkeye. This is an interesting quote from Bloomberg. It's a little lengthy. I want to walk you through it and get your reaction. They're basically laying out why Russia's being hesitant, but they've got some interesting points here. Russia's concerns include guarantees against future eastward expansion by the NATO military alliance and on Ukraine's neutral status if it joins the European Union, according to a person close to the Kremlin. Now, the plan also lacks limits sought by Russia on Kyiv's post-war armed forces and types of weapons, the person said, and doesn't provide clear assurances on the status of the Russian language in Ukraine. Russia also wants clarity on the issue of removing sanctions and on hundreds of billions of dollars of frozen Russian assets in the West. I mean, we knew that was going to happen. This is what they typically try to do, Matt. They want to extract a little money in order to stop doing something that they know is illegal under international law. But what do you make of the ongoing talks? Positive direction or not so much?
Yeah. First of all, Kevin, it's great to be with you. Merry Christmas, and especially Merry Christmas to our service members serving abroad this holiday time. And, you know, I'm thinking about those Iowa Guardsmen's families right now, you know, who paid the ultimate sacrifice. But on this peace deal, you know, it is a complicated negotiation. And, you know, we have, I think, have a pretty good idea of what the Ukrainians are willing to do, and the Russians, you know, come back with what you just saw. I mean, you know, whether that, you know, Bloomberg is on the source or not, that's arguable. But, you know, the bottom line is that it's going to come down to ultimately the territory and how that territory is divided up. You know, whether it's a DMZ, a demilitarized zone, whether it's an economic opportunity zone, and because the security guarantees we've mostly resolved with the Ukrainians, and I think that, you know, the Russians are not objecting to that. it's going to boil down to the territories and making sure that both sides honor the ceasefire and honor the peace. And you know, I think we've resolved most of those issues as well. And so we're getting closer, and we're as close as we've ever been. And the only reason we're here, Kevin, is because Donald Trump is president, and he is able to bring both sides to the table to continue this negotiation. But you know what? Let's hope that this can continue and we can get this resolved as soon as possible.
You know, I have to admit, as someone who's been in Washington an awful long time and who's been around a lot of the hawks over on Capitol Hill, the fact that we're at this point is quite remarkable. I think it speaks to the president's posture as a peace president. Let me get your reaction to a little sound. This is the commander-in-chief talking about the ongoing talks.
So the talks in Ukraine, Russia are going along. They lost, as you know, 27,000 soldiers last month, mostly soldiers, some people in Kiev, etc., but mostly soldiers. And the talks are going along. And I say that, you know, there's tremendous hatred between these two leaders, between President Putin, President Zelensky, tremendous hatred. And I hope we can get it done.
The president, is nothing else if blunt. There is a level of hatred, but I think he still feels like, in spite of all of that noise, and in spite of the history, and in spite of the incredibly hard feelings between the two leaders, peace is possible. Am I on the right track there?
Yeah, Kevin, peace is definitely possible. The challenge is going to be in the complicated final negotiations here. And, you know, Steve and Jared and the whole team, we are all making sure that not only is a peace deal get done and it's fair and just and ultimately enduring. That's the number one thing, is we've got to make sure it lasts. And the second thing is ultimately we need to make sure that the Ukrainians, in the deal that they do, that they're, don't live in fear of another invasion. And so, these things are very complex. The items, that are on the table are less than they were 2 weeks ago. And so that's the good news. But there's still matters that need to be resolved in a way that both sides can agree. And we're getting close, though.
Of all the people I know in Washington, I know you are among the most honest, straight shooter. This thing get done in the next, say, 90 days?
If it's going to get done, it's going to get done in the next 90 days. Obviously, this winter could be really harsh for the Ukrainians because of the attacks on their energy infrastructure that the Russians have been executing over the last several months. But at the same time, the Ukrainians are not sitting by. I mean, they're lobbying their own attacks against the Russians that are inflicting damage on some of their infrastructure and on their oil and gas industry. And so, this needs to stop. President Trump, I think, comes from the right exactly place, which is the killing needs to end. It's senseless. It's been going on for 4 years. Nobody's getting any strategic advantages, and the death and destruction just needs to end. And so we're going to keep grinding on this. We're going to keep pushing both sides to resolve this. And again, if anybody can get it done, it's President Trump.
Well, that's the betting odds right now. We'll see if it can happen sooner than later. You're right. The killing continues. Matt Whitaker, as always, a pleasure, my friend. Merry Christmas.
All right. Yeah, Merry Christmas, Kevin. Good to see you again.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.